What's up guys, welcome to Film and TV Reviews. I'm your host Grant Burton. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at _Grant Burton. In the meantime, give me a subscription and a thumbs up and leave some comments and feedback down below. Any support you want to give will really be appreciated. But today I am reviewing Constantine, City of Demons. You can get my full written review at powerdown.com if you're interested. So I'll start off by saying that I was pleasantly surprised by this film. I wasn't expecting much, and yeah, it's pretty good. So I'll start by talking about Constantine himself, played again by Matt Ryan. I say again because he played him in the short-lived TV series really well. Played in that show, just the show itself wasn't great. He then recurred in Arrow, and he's now a main character in Legends of Tomorrow, and he voiced the character again in Justice League Dark. So at this point, Matt Ryan is Constantine, regardless of what franchise or series he's in. And he's really good in the role. He's cocky, he's sarcastic, but at the same time, he's charming and very likable and relatable. Even when he's talking about this magic and mystical stuff, which often doesn't make much sense, you do kind of relate to him. This film in particular gets much more into the depths of his character, which I haven't quite seen in any of the other depictions of him. You find out what the event in Newcastle was in this film, and you get much more of an idea of what's driving Constantine in this film. So I really like that, and Matt Ryan plays him brilliantly. This also, you've got to commend the animation for conveying Matt Ryan's performance pretty well, although I'll get onto the animation in just a bit. The villain of this film, I'm not going to say who it is, I'm not going to spoil the villain, but I quite like them. They often come across as a little stereotypical in one note, but there's one scene about half an hour into the film where you find out much more about the villain, you get a new side of them. They enter the villain's home, and it's really weird and odd. There's comedic elements going on, there's horror and gore, and you just get a really better sense of who the villain is as a character. It's really well done, probably the best scene in the whole film, I would say. And speaking of all the horror and the gore and the comedy, this film likes to mix with tone and genre. On the surface, this is a horror film, plain and simple. You've got demons, you've got lots of blood and guts, you've got scary monsters, I suppose, although the animation does kind of alleviate the scares a bit because, well, it's not real and it doesn't look real. But one of the things I was surprised at is how much comedy there is in this film. The film is actually surprisingly funny at times, and I think that's really good because otherwise it comes across as really dry and bland. So the comedy, really good. As for the gore and the horror, this as an 18 rating here in the UK. I think it's R-rated elsewhere. And unlike a lot of the R-rated stuff, it doesn't feel tacked on in this film. It doesn't feel like they've put it in there just for the hell of it. It actually makes a lot of sense because of the subject nature, because of what the story's about, because of the villains. They are demons. So there is a lot of blood and guts in this film. There's a lot of violent action in the film. But I would also say there's a sex scene in the film, kind of, and that took me by surprise. So if you're wanting a family-friendly animated movie, this is not it, plain and simple. There's some bad language in there as well. But it works and it makes perfect sense. It doesn't feel forced in at all. So let's talk about the story a bit. The story, pretty simple. Constantine's best friend's daughter has been kidnapped. She's stuck in a coma. This demon has basically took her and is holding her for ransom. So the best friend goes to Constantine and asks him to, well, get his daughter back. And yeah, this ties into the fact that the best friend was there in the incident in Newcastle. We find out about Constantine's past. And yeah, I don't want to spoil it, so I'm not going to say much more, but I really, really like the ending. There's a good twist, let's say, and it's quite emotional. I was a little surprised by that. So, final thing I want to talk about is the animation. So, if you've seen like Disney animated movies or was it DreamWorks, the ones that come out in cinemas and theaters, they're all pretty good looking visually. The animation is well done. You can tell there's a big budget gone into it. Whereas these DC movies, in my opinion, I'm not an expert on animation by any means, they often come across as cheap and limited in comparison. So just be aware that at times I feel the backgrounds and characters lack some of the details that other films have, and that does hamper the immersion, or at least it did for me. So yeah, the animation I was a little disappointed by, but otherwise this is a really good, enjoyable, fun film. Certainly the best Constantine film, perhaps even the best look at Constantine as a character outside of the original comic books like Hellblazer. But yeah, I've never read the comic books, so I can't really say too much about those. But yeah, I thoroughly recommend it if you're into the DC stuff, if you're into the supernatural stuff, because I'm not into that sort of stuff either. Supernatural, mystical stuff doesn't please me at all much, really. But this does, and I do recommend it. If you've liked what you've seen, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at _GrantBurton, or you can give me a subscription on YouTube as well as a thumbs up. Leave a comment and feedback down below. Any support really would be much appreciated though. But until next time, I hope you've enjoyed it, but I'm out.